This is a story about the teacher's note. In a bustling city, there was a boy who was not good at studying. He tried his best, but no matter how hard he worked, his grades were just average. Because of this, he was often looked down upon by his peers and teachers alike. One day, Mr. Williams, who was one of his teachers, gave him a test. The boy thought that he had studied well for this test and was confident that he would finally get a good grade. But when he got his test back, he was shocked. Ayod filed, and as he looked over his test, he noticed something. Scrunched up in the corner of the paper was a note from his teacher. He unfolded it carefully to read, "You are more than your grades." At that moment, he didn't understand what his teacher meant by this. Was he trying to tell him that grades didn't matter? As the days went by, the boy began to feel less and less motivated to study. He started skipping classes and hanging out in internet cafes instead. One day, while he was hanging out in an internet cafe, he saw a group of people playing a game. They were so engrossed in the game that they didn't even notice the time. It was almost as if they were in their own little world. The boy joined the group, and soon he too was hooked on the game. Days turned into months, and the boy forgot all about studying. He was failing all of his classes, and his parents were furious. One day, his parents sent him to live with his uncle, who was a famous teacher in the city. The boy still wasn't interested in studying, but he didn't want to disappoint his uncle, so he began to study secretly. He studied hard, and eventually his grades began to improve. He was even able to get into a good university. After graduating from university, the boy became a teacher himself. He wanted to be just like his uncle, who had inspired him to love learning. One day, he was giving a test to his students. As he was grading the tests, he noticed that one of his students, Taro, had failed. He looked through Taro's test and noticed that Taro had done all of the questions correctly in the beginning, but had gotten progressively worse as the test went on. He felt bad for the kid because he knew that Taro was very smart. He called Taro into his office and asked him why he had stopped trying so hard on the test. "I got bored," Taro replied nonchalantly. "You're more than your grades," the teacher said to Taro. At first, Taro looked confused, but then he seemed to understand. From that day on, Taro began to try harder at everything he did. He didn't do it for the grades, but because he loved learning. The teacher often thought about his own school days. He remembered how he had failed his test, and how the teacher's kind words had changed his life. That is why he made sure to write "You are more than your grades" on Taro's test. He hoped that his words would inspire Taro to be his best self. Years passed, and Taro graduated from university and became a successful businessman. He often thought back to his teacher's words, "You are more than your grades." He knew that his teacher had saved him from a life of mediocrity. One day, Taro decided to visit his old teacher. When he knocked on his teacher's door, the teacher opened it and was shocked. "Taro, is that really you?" he exclaimed. "I can't believe how much you've grown." "Thank you," Taro replied with a smile. "I wanted to tell you that I never forgot what you told me. You are more than your grades. Because of you, I was able to find my true potential." The teacher was overjoyed to hear this. He had known that Taro was a special student, but he had never imagined that Taro would become such a successful man. From that day on, Taro and his teacher remained close friends until the end of his teacher's life. The teacher continued to inspire young minds and to help them reach their full potential. And Taro continued to be successful in business and always remembered the importance of never giving up. And that's the end of the story. If you love and like this story, don't forget to share it, leave a comment, and follow for more inspiring stories.